Nail by Ian Jones and Andy Edwards. Episode 8. The Wake. Monday, September the 29th, 1936. Nail is at Mrs. Cooper's wake in the back room of the Bell Inn in Pontderw. He's trying to come to terms with both Mrs. Cooper's passing and his violent encounter the previous day with Dai Slug. Big funeral, not a spare seat in the church. The whole village was there and a few from the surrounding villages. Handful standing outside as well. Love is eternal, said the Reverend Pontderw James. Some say he's got a beautiful speaking voice. I think he can be a bit over-dramatic, waving his arms about like a crazy Turk. Mind you, he's from Llanelli. Aye, love is eternal. Margaret Griffiths was there with Verdun. She's left Dai Slug, apparently, and is staying with her Auntie Blodwen in Antlas. Packed her bag and escaped when he was in the hospital. Good for her. Bloody bully like that doesn't deserve a good woman. You gave her a chance, says Merv. You gave her a chance to get away, Neil. About time someone gave him hiding. Aye, about time. Well done, Neil, well done. She smiled at me as she left the church. Wasn't expecting that. Ernie, he sang Come Rhondda. Mrs. Cooper loved Come Rhondda. Guide me, O thou great Redeemer. Oh, I can't sing. He turned up yesterday for the Sunday school children in the end, you know. They had a lovely day down the Gower, they did. Sandcastles, cockles, ice cream, chips and go signing on the way home. Good old Ernie. Mrs. John was sat at the back of the church, knitting, always knitting. Philly and Di English were there too. They're happy enough, aren't they? They sat arm in arm through the whole service. Touching, that. Claude sat up the front and wept quietly to himself. He stood at the bar on his own all afternoon. Not in the mood to talk, I don't suppose. Not much of a talker anyway. Minds his own business, you know. Emotional day for us all. The wake is in the back room of the Bell. It's the only pub in the village with enough room for everyone. Most of the mourners have gone home now. Only about a dozen of us here. I sat on my own for a while thinking about when my Chantal died. We didn't have a wake, couldn't face it. Not easy losing your wife and your child at the same time. Merv and Caio come and join me. Nice spread, mind, says Caio. Dorothy Pontderw James and the Black Widows did Daisy Cooper proud. Sausage rolls are lovely. I had 4. Mrs. Prothero made them, I think. Bryn Antlas had 12, says Merv. I wasn't counting, mind. Eats like King Kong. No, he's your size. Massive, you're a giant. Cucumber and tin salmon sandwiches, pickled onions, joint of beef, few tins of spam. I had a couple of biscuits, Ritz crackers. Never had them before. Lovely they were. Lovely with a bit of Caerphilly especially. And Edith Pierce's Welsh cakes. Oh, she's a real dab hand. I had jam on mine. Don't often see jelly at a wake. Usually for the kids. But Mrs. Cooper's favourite though, with tinned fruit and a bit of ideal milk. No Battenberg though, bit disappointed. I like a bit of Battenberg with a cup of tea. I had a sing-song earlier. Dolly was on the piano. Makes a change from the church organ. Pack up your troubles, keep the home fires burning. Long way to Tipperary. Oh, great man. She's a lovely pianist, Dolly. But she hasn't got much of a voice on her. They say she sings like a canary, but I don't agree. We all joined in, mind. She wouldn't have noticed in any case. Then Lulu King turned up and sang Daisy Daisy with her banjo. Oh, my favourite, that is. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. Frightened myself yesterday a bit. Don't like losing my rag. Upset me after. Didn't go out of the house again. Wanted to be on my own, you know. Don't like losing control. Been very much in control for a good while. But he touched a nerve there. Don't like wife beaters, bullies, cowards. If you ever raise a hand in anger on a woman, Hobart, I'll give you the hiding of your life, my mother used to say to me. I think she may have seen a few things when she was a girl. Bad things. Some say there are two types of men. Them that were in the trenches and them that weren't. Think that's always eating that Dai Slug. Makes him feel less of a man, know what I mean? Worked in a munitions factory, see? Surrounded by women. Maybe that set him off. The old boys in the village would say, off to work with the girls or you die. I don't know. No excuse though. To be honest, I didn't know whether I'd left him alive or dead. I was glad I hadn't killed him, mind. But in a strange way it made no difference to how I felt about myself. Made me think about Tommy, you know. Poor old stinky Tom. How does he cope? Doesn't, perhaps. No, he doesn't. Problems disappear when you have a drink or two. Or three, or four. Saw him looking over the graveyard wall this afternoon as we lowered Mrs. Cooper down. Doesn't like a crowd, Tommy. Prefers his own company. Still wanted to pay his respects, though. Fair play. Nobby called around the cottage after evensong last night. All sorted for tomorrow, Neil? Aye, Nobby, all sorted. Someone's put Dai Slug in hospital, he said. Aye, I know, I said. Come in. We sat in the kitchen. He's all right, but they're keeping him in for a few days. He's had a right hammering, mind. Won't tell the police how it happened. He pauses. People are saying it was you, Neil. I don't answer. There's a long silence. Was it you, Neil? I still don't answer, but he knew. I know he knew. We had a tot, and he went. Do you know? Two strangers turned up at the funeral this afternoon. Nobody had any idea who they were. Arrived at the church and sat at the front. Didn't come to the graveyard, but lo and behold, they were at the bell when we got here. First ones to the buffet. Never seen two old women eat so much. Cayo reckons they just look for funerals in the paper and turn up. They persuaded Dai English to run them into town to catch a train to Swansea. Unbelievable, mind. What a front they got, eh? Professional mourners, says Merv, smiling. Aye, I say, and we laugh. Did you see Johnny 18 months doing a headstand and drinking a pint upside down, says Cayo. Not really appropriate for a wake, I suppose, but very funny. Johnny's better then, I think to myself. Good old Claude, got him home safe. Hope he stays off the Cambrian Pacific tonight. Kipper and Brinton and Glass are still talking about the rugby. Haven't stopped since Saturday. Aye, and I ran the length of the field to score the winning try, Kipper tells Dai English, the butcher, and Philly, his wife. They look impressed. Our Deaf and Edna shared a drink in the snug. Maybe she will get a third husband after all. His urine seems a lot better when she's around. So I put my flag up and said Pontderw ball. He laughs to himself. Hero I am. Edna nods and grins. He hadn't looked like much of a hero running down Picton Hill with those two women chasing him. Never mind, never mind. Nobby the Death did a good job as ever, very professional. Worried about his girls, he is though. Out of control they are, Neil, wild, just like their mother before we got married. He smiles and remembers. Eddie closed the ship and came to the funeral in the wake. What a take, eh? Don't suppose he has many in on a Monday though, anyway. Still, nice touch. I rig book and pencil, arrange for 4 PCs to carry the coffin. Full uniform, mind, very smart. He's a decent man, I rig. Although I'm sure that's not what they're calling him in Blind Wine Rugby Club this evening. No. I spend most of the afternoon chatting and laughing with Merv and Kyo. Reminiscing, a joke here, a story there. Remember the time, and what about when, and when I was in the Navy, and I tell you one now, and when they got home, the monkey was on the kitchen table. They've gone now, and I'll just finish this one before I head off. Billy O walks over and stands next to me. Mind if I sit down? Heavy day, Neil. Glad I was here to say my goodbyes to Daisy. We touch our glasses together. Absent friends, he says. He hands me a small envelope. Give that to Tommy and look after those medals for him, Neil. Oh, thanks, Billy, I will. He lights a cheroot cigar and takes a long puff. He blows a huge waft of cigar smoke into the already cloudy room and looks at me straight in the face. I knew her well when I was a child, Neil. My mother was a good friend of hers before she passed away. They used to meet for tea after chapel every Sunday before doing the roast. Listen, she told me something, Neil, and I want to share it with you. And I hope you don't mind. Mind? No, don't mind. No. He puts down his brandy and places a cigar in the ashtray and comes a little closer. My mother told me that I could never tell anyone about this. But now that Mrs. Cooper's at rest, I don't suppose it matters, and I think it needs to be said. I'm heading back to a bit of business in London tomorrow, so a last chance, really. I look at him inquisitively. What's this all about? Your father and Daisy Cooper were very close when he was a young man, Neil. Even though she was a good bit older than him. Aye. They both loved horses and spent a good bit of time together talking. Well, he pauses. This is well before he met your mother, mind. Get that right. All right, I say. The thing is, Neil, they had a child together. What? Mrs. Cooper and my father? Yes, Neil, a son. What? I didn't know that. Nobody did, except my mother, Daisy, and her aunt. Your father didn't even know. So my father had a son he never knew about. That is correct, Neil. But what happened to him? He was brought up by Daisy's Aunt Megan in Altwen. Came back and worked for Daisy when he was 16. He'd been in an accident of some sort and never knew she was his mother. Do you mean Claude? That's right, Neil. Claude. And she never told him? Not as far as I know. She may have, but I don't know. Claude? Mrs. Cooper's gardener? Claude, who I've seen pretty much every day for the last 14 years, is Mrs. Cooper's son? I stare at Billy O with my mouth open. So he's my half-brother then? That would seem to be the case, says Billy O. I look at Claude, who is standing at the bar, his eyes puffed and red. I catch his eye and nod at him. He touches his cap. My God, Billy, he's just buried his mother. Yes, Just thought you'd like to know, says Billy O, and drains his glass. Thanks, I think. Sorry, he says, and disappears into the snug. I sit quietly on my own for a few minutes, in shock. I go to the backyard to spend a penny and pull on my coat and set off for home. I've had enough for one day. I close the door of the pub behind me without saying good night to anyone. I wonder if Claude knows she was his mother. He must know. No wonder he was so upset this afternoon. No wonder he came to the grave yesterday. But does he know about my father? Does he know about me? On my way home, I walk through the square. Margaret Griffiths is sitting in the bus shelter with Verdun, waiting for the bus to Nantlas. I nod my head as I walk by. Neil, she says. I turn. She walks towards me with Verdun's hand in hers. What do you say to Mr. Ackerman, Verdun? Sorry, Mr. Ackerman. Don't worry, boy, don't worry. Can I see Tommy's medals again, Mr. Ackerman? Of course you can, boy, of course. Any time you like. Tomorrow if you want. I look at Margaret. I'm sorry too, I say. Sorry for shouting at you on the bus and for, I pause and look at the boy. I shouldn't have. Margaret puts her hand on my arm and looks right into my eyes. Thank you, she says. Thank you. I smile. Night, night, Margaret. Nos da, Neil, she says. Sleep well.